Valley Connection is brought to you by RPS Video Productions.
Welcome to this month's edition of the Valley Connection, a monthly show spotlighting our Valley's issues, concerns, and events. I'm Nancy Lopez.
And I'm Cesaria Hernandez. And Nancy, it's beginning to feel like the holiday season a little bit.
I'm so ready, ready.
Me too, definitely. We have got a great show planned out for you. And Nancy, a little bit of trivia here. Tell me, the word chuck wagon, do you know what chuck actually refers to?
Well, I have my suspicions, but I don't think I want to say it on the air.
Well, chuck actually refers to good food. It was a slang term used in the olden times to mean good food. And what is the modern day equivalent of chuck wagons?
Let's see, could it be vendors or food trucks?
Food trucks,
there
absolutely.
You go. Hey.
And I got to go out and do a segment on those. Do you know that there are over 3 million food trucks here in the United States, approximately 10 new ones opening each and every day? And we got to go out to Perris and sample some of that wonderful cuisine that they cook up.
Wow, that sounds very good. Yes. Well, speaking of things exciting and food and all that, our cameras went out to the city of San Jacinto for their, is this the first time?
No, actually it's the second time.
The second annual AgFest. And I guess they had a lot of fun things that showed way back in times like corn chucking and hay hauling and all kinds of cool things.
And I understand that you got to do something very cool too, Nancy.
I got out of the studio, I went on location, and I met up with a wonderful crew from Mercy Air. Now, if you don't know what Mercy Air is, it's actually a helicopter, and they do emergency evacuations and transports to area hospitals for trauma-type patients. I don't want to give too much away because I want you to see it.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back with all that and much, much more right after this. Welcome back to the show. Now, Nancy, let's head out to Perris for the Gourmet Food Truck event.
We here at the Valley Connection travel the world over to bring you the very best that Southern California has to offer. And this time, we didn't have to travel far at all. We're out here at the Southern California Fairgrounds in Perris for the Gourmet Food Truck event. I'm here with Keith Kahn. He is the president of IE Gourmet Food Trucks. And Keith, tell me just a little bit about what your organization does.
Sure. Well, again, our name of our company is IE Gourmet Food Trucks, and we are committed to bringing these gourmet food trucks out to the Inland Empire on a full-time basis.
Now, I understand that there's been some problems in doing that in years past. Back in the 80s, some laws went through. Let's touch base a little bit about that and how some of those things are being changed now.
Sure. Up until just 6 months ago, 56 out of 58 counties in California allowed the gourmet food trucks. The only two that didn't were San Bernardino County and Riverside County. But as you mentioned, in July of this year, San Bernardino County published new guidelines to allow food trucks to actually come in on a daily basis.
Oh, that is wonderful news for us here in the IE, that's for sure. Now then, tell me, what makes for a successful food truck?
Sure. Well, I think it really does start strictly with the food. A lot of these guys have chosen a certain cuisine, and the one thing they just have to know is that their food is as good as anybody that you'll find in any restaurant, in Southern California.
Now, what are some of the challenges that are facing food truckers out there?
Sure. Yeah, they face some of the same challenges some of the other companies do, some of the other really restaurants. Food costs, labor costs, and in their case, fuel costs and even permit costs.
Now then, I know that social media has had a lot to do with the resurgence of the food truck industry here.
It has really been huge. I mean, number one is the thing about the gourmet food trucks is they serve great food, but they've had to get their message out, and social media has been invaluable for them. Between Twitter, their Facebook pages, websites, it has really allowed the gourmet food truck industry not just to survive, but to thrive.
Where do you see the future of gourmet food trucks going?
Yeah, I think that in the next 3 to 5 years, we will see probably a leveling off of the amount of food trucks there are now, but some of these guys do such a great job with their food, with their creativity, with their menu, that I see the ones that continue to market themselves well, continue to reinvent themselves, and maintain their kind of their base of their menu. They're going to be here for the foreseeable future.
Well, Keith, we certainly thank you. And look at all of this great food. We are going to sample some of this and talk with some of the wonderful chefs out here. I'm here with Mac from Cool House. And Mac, tell me just a little bit about your gourmet ice cream sandwiches.
Well, we have a pretty simple process. We ask you to pick one cookie flavor out of a few, maybe half a dozen options that we have at a time, and one ice cream flavor out of maybe half a dozen or more ice cream flavors that we have at a time. And we build a sandwich. It's sort of like a house. You got like a cookie roof, a cookie slab. You got the walls and all of the rooms in the middle made of ice cream. This particular sandwich is made with chocolate chunks and pretzels, and the ice cream is what we call our dirty mint chip. We call it dirty because we use fresh mint leaves, so it's like from the garden, some more natural flavor, and we don't use like mint extract or food coloring, so the ice cream is white instead of green, which shocks a lot of people. But personally, it's the best mint I've ever had, and a lot of people say the same.
Now, I understand you use a lot of natural ingredients, a lot of organic ingredients, right down to, and look at this, folks, right down to the wrappers that they use. I understand that these are actually edible.
That's right. They're made from potatoes, and if you hire us to do a catering event or something like that, we can print on them. The wrappers are made from potato starch, and we use a soy-based ink, so we can put your company logo or happy birthday Anita or whatever on there, sort of personalize your event.
Wow, how neat is that? Dewey is here from Tornado Potato, and I don't even have to ask why it's called Tornado Potato, but Dewey, tell me just a little bit about your product.
3 years before my boss decided to retire, he decided to put a potato on a stick and sold it.
Now tell me, what are some of the unique flavors that you have?
This one right here is garlic parmesan, and there's 7 other different types of flavoring, being Cajun, ranch, cheddar cheese, jalapeno, cinnamon, sugar, and sour cream and onion.
Fernie from Me So Hungry, these are amazing looking sliders. Can you tell me about them?
These are our Cali sliders, one of 3 sliders that we have on this truck. It is Angus beef, applewood bacon, gorgonzola spread with spring lettuce. We have our KTM, which is seasoned and marinated with the secret sauce that we can't give away because it's chef's special. It's his personal sauce. And we also have a flying Hawaiian, which comes with bok choy and seasoned salt peppered seasoned chicken.
If you'd like to experience gourmet food trucking for yourself, you can look for one of these events or go online. They're always on Twitter and Facebook giving their locations. We're going to be right back with more of the Valley Connection right after this.
Wasn't that fun? Nancy, that was so great. I got to ride a camel and everything.
You know, how many people get to ride a camel in Hemet? Although some days it's so hot
You feel like you would be, huh? Well, a lot of folks here in our valley used to ride horses, and they used to chuck corn, and they used to bale hay, and we had a great event that was going on about all of those kind of things.
That's right. It's kind of like a step back in history within our valley, and we lose a lot of those skills and events, so it was really neat to spotlight those. So watch.
Our annual San Jacinto AgFest was a great family event. This year's event coordinators, Stephanie Borders of Party Planners, along with Shirley Maddox, wanted to bring back hometown America to our valley. This three-day festival was created by the San Jacinto City Council to celebrate the San Jacinto Valley's agricultural roots. Held at Francisco Estudillo Heritage Park, what fun! Along with great food, there was so much to see and do. The city-sponsored festival had it all.
Don't forget, though, that this is only the beginning.
Brought back again this year were tours of the potato packing shed of Agna Empire. Competitors from all over showed their skills in blacksmithing. There's nothing like a good old-fashioned shootout with the Ramona Pageant Cowboys. It was great fun to watch the competitors for the Miss Agricultural Scholarship Pageant compete all weekend long. Crowds enjoyed the competition in hay stealing, hay squeeze, and hay bucking. We spoke with a group of winners on what their strategy was to win.
At it and work at it some more. When you get tired, work a little more.
My strategy was just to get the bales stacked up as tight as we could, just so they'd fit right nice, and so we could just drive off nice and slow.
My grandpa was a hay broker. I'm a third generation hay, person that deals with hay. I take a lot of pride in my work, and I try to do the best I can whenever I can. That's pretty much it.
We deal with hay every day, and that's what we do to make a living.
As the cooler nights took hold of our valley, people came out in droves to enjoy the carnival rides along with many of the other attractions. Another AgFest favorite was the Tina Turner tribute show. As the weekend winds down, the winner of Miss Agricultural Scholarship Pageant received $5,000 for a college of her choice from Agri Empire.
And I am very proud to announce Shayna Webb as your new Ag Festival Queen.
Okay, on behalf of the Miner family and all the hardworking employees at Agri Empire, congratulations on this year's Agri Empire AgFest Scholarship Award.
This year's AgFest was a well-attended community fair and a chance to highlight this area's history. This taped RV Demolition Derby event can be seen on the valleyconnection.net website.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
At Ramona Humane Society, we have adoptions 7 days a week. We have cats, dogs, puppies, and kittens. We have rabbits, hamsters, anything for the liking. Come down and see who you can adopt and invite into your family. We also have the Ramona Clinic with low-cost spay and neuters. We also have microchipping and vaccinations so that you can take care of your pet when you get them home.
Today we'd like to talk to you about microchipping your animals. Any animal can be microchipped, and the benefit of being able to return the animal to its owner if it's running loose. When any animal is brought into the animal shelter, we scan them for a microchip and then call the company, find out who it belongs to, and we are able to call you at home so you can come and pick up your pet. It is a misconception that we're looking for animals to come into the animal shelter. We are looking to be able to move them back to the homeowners and be able to get them reunited with you. So please, go to any veterinarian of your choice and you can have your animal microchipped. If you do have a microchip in an animal that you've acquired, you can have it scanned and find out who the manufacturer is and be able to register with them and have your pet currently registered. And also make sure that you purchase a city license for your animals, and it's another way of being able to have your animal reunited with you if your animal is running at large.
Like to adopt, we're here 7 days a week. Thanks, and come and see us at Ramona Humane Society.
Welcome back to the show. Now, Nancy, we have had a great addition here in our valley to our emergency response teams, and you got to spend some time with them.
That's right, Cesaria. I got to meet with Mercy Air, a wonderful crew from them, and we got to talk more about the roles and functions and what all is involved in emergency air transport. I am out here at Hemet Ryan Airport with the Mercy Air flight crew, and I would like for you to start and introduce everybody that's in the crew and something about their roles and functions with Mercy Air.
Okay, Nancy. My name is Mark Donahue. I am the medical base supervisor and flight paramedic out here. This is my partner Dave. He is our flight nurse. And Gary, he is our pilot. Basically, we comprise of what's called a flight crew. You have a nurse, a paramedic, and a pilot. And that particular configuration gives us the ability to have a pilot that can get us from point A to point B at roughly 150 miles an hour. He can get us to that patient without having to worry about red lights, without having to worry about traffic. We can get that patient to the hospital very quickly. Then we also have Dave here, who has an extensive clinical experience from within the hospital. So what he brings to the table is he gives us the ability to treat patients medically and have that clinical expertise. My role as the flight paramedic is to have the experience of running 911 type calls, and so that gives me the ability to run really high acuity calls out on the streets. And so when you put us together, that's what kind of comprises this team.
Makes up the crew.
Absolutely.
Now you're based out of here, right? I mean, so you work out of the fire station, correct?
Yes.
So when you get the call, that they need you, then you just come over here and you take off, correct?
Yes.
And what areas do you service?
We primarily cover Riverside County, but we also cover San Diego County, San Bernardino, Orange County. So we have a very expansive coverage area.
Now, what is the determination in the flight? I mean, how do you know it's necessary to emergency airlift someone? What's the protocol for that?
It varies within the different counties. Some of the counties will use time as an indicator. If the patient is greater than 30 minutes from the hospital, that's when they would incorporate air into it. A lot of the other counties use acuity. If the patient is critically injured, critically ill, time is of the essence and they need a higher level of care brought right to the patient's site, whether that's a mountain, whether that's the beach, whether that's the middle of the freeway, that's when they will make the determination to call air. It's normally handled by a fire captain, a battalion chief, a police officer. They will request us, or the treating paramedic will make that determination that we need Mercy Air, and they'll go ahead and activate us.
Dave, why don't you answer for us, once a patient is in flight, what kind of communication is happening with the ground?
Was it typically en route to a scene? We're in constant communication with the provider that requested us. So it could be EMS, could be fire, could be hospital to hospital. So we're in constant communication via radio, sometimes via satellite phone with these crews or these providers. We'll land. We actually keep in constant communication also with our dispatch. So we have multiple things going on. In addition, Gary is also talking to air traffic control, other aircraft in the area to make sure that the area is clear, make sure it's safe, and make sure that everyone stays basically safe around the either scene or the hospital or during flight.
And Gary, as a pilot, how do you know which hospital you're taking the patient? How is that communicated?
Normally, if we go to the scene, once we're there, the flight crew will talk with the people on the ground and determine where we'll go, and then they'll radio me and let me know. If it's something from a hospital, transport out of a hospital, I'll know ahead of time from my dispatch where the patient is going.
And I'm sure you have run into some difficult situations and conditions out there. What are some of those?
We never know, excuse me, what we're going to get. It varies from day to day. Not only do we deal with temperature extremes, we deal with altitude, we deal with, again, the sickest patients. So I think that one of the things that's very difficult for all of us is just having to deal with seeing the human pain, seeing the suffering. We're all fathers.
Sure you see a lot.
Yeah, we see that, especially with the children. No matter how long I do this, it never gets any easier. So that's some of the things that we struggle with. I think that we're all professionals and we can all get our jobs done. But when there is a police officer that gets shot, when there is a firefighter that gets burned, when there's a child that drowns, we typically go on those types of calls. And so once the job is done and over with and we've got them to the hospital, we're still trying to deal with having to have seen those types of things. And it's tough. It's tough to see. But again, that's part of the job. And we have each other for support. And when we're flying back, we can kind of lean on one another. And so it's great to have that team. So it helps us out tremendously.
Yeah, it does, I'm sure. As a pilot, have you had any difficulties landing in any particular places or conditions?
Sure, there's always challenges. For us at night in the mountains is probably the most difficult time. We do have night vision goggles, very similar to the military, and that's made a tremendous difference in the last several years. But there's always, weather's a factor sometimes. Wind can be challenging, and just the size of the area we're going to land, that can be difficult as well. But it's something that we're taught, and through experience, you get better at it.
Okay, so Mark, being a paramedic, do you have any advice that you can offer to the public about seeking medical care?
Absolutely, Nancy, and I'm going to actually look out at you and just to make a plea. If you're ever in doubt, please call 911. People get into paramedicine, they get into the fire service because we want to help. And I've noticed that there's a reluctance on people's part to activate 911, and we're there to help. We get into this field knowing that people get sick in the morning, in the middle of the night, on holidays, on weekends, and for whatever reason, people, again, they feel as though they're going to be putting us out by calling, and in doing so, they're doing harm to themselves. And so please, please, please call. If we get there and it determine that it's not something that's life-threatening and you can simply follow up with your primary care physician, then that's fantastic. But if we find out that it's something that's an actual life threat, now we're there and we're going to get the ball rolling on getting you treatment sooner. So it's just very, very important. If you're not feeling well, if you're feeling as though you're having a heart attack, if you're feeling as though you're having a stroke, you're driving yourself, please pull over, call 911. Get the paramedics there, and they will continue getting you to the emergency room safely. So again, please just remember this the next time you're experiencing this, the next time you see a loved one, any family member, any friend, just go ahead and pick up the phone, call 911, and let's get this taken care of.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it. And we're going right back to the studio. And welcome back as we close the show. We hope you found it to be very entertaining as well as informative. And as we close, we want to be sure and remind you to be safe out there. With the holiday season coming up, there's going to be a lot of drivers on the street, so please be careful. And another reminder, shop local.
That's right, Nancy. Remember, your tax dollars stay right here in our valley whenever you purchase things from local merchants. So please, give our valley merchants first chance.
And another reminder, if you would like to see this show again or any previous shows, you can check us out at the website, thevalleyconnection.net. And we have something else.
Something brand new, Nancy. In addition to our regular program, which airs on Time Warner, we are also now seen on Eagle Vision, which is part of FiOS Channel 45, and that's on Saturdays at 5 p.m.
And it's seen throughout Riverside County.
That's right.
So please join us next time for more of The Valley Connection.